my name's Dan. Today I'm going to show you how to take apart a CVT transmission case on a Yamaha Zuma 50 scooter. Basically all scooters use the same system, so it's pretty easy to get more performance from your clutch and your variator once you take apart your CVT case. You only need 4 simple tools: impact wrench with a 17mm socket. You can get these at Harbor Freight for about 20 bucks, pretty cheap. Hex head wrench, Phillips screwdriver, small crescent wrench. First thing you want to do is remove the bolt from the kickstart lever. Remove that. Next, go ahead and use your Phillips screwdriver. Remove the 2 Phillips heads. Now you can remove the crankcase breather tube. Set that aside. Now you can start removing the hex head bolts from around the transmission case. You want to keep an eye on which lengths are coming out of this case so you put them back in the same spots. Okay, now that you have all of your hex head bolts out, you should be able to pull the case off. Just set it aside. You can see this has a bad gasket. You can always replace your gasket when you put it back on. Not a bad idea. Now, you would use your impact wrench. You take off the 2 bolts on the clutch and the variator. Watch where the bolts go because each one is different. Want to remove the variator this way, just pull it off the spline. And you can remove the belt. Remove the clutch. All right, now when you remove the variator with the weights that you can adjust, you want to pull it off as one unit. And there you have it. Now that we have our CVT disassembled, let's take a look at the individual components that make up the system. You have your CVT case. This includes your kickstart mechanism right here. If it ever breaks, you can get parts very easily for it. Next, you have your clutch. You can take the clutch housing off, sometimes called a clutch bell or just a clutch housing, clutch cover. And once you have it off, you can actually see inside of it and see your springs that you can adjust to make it shift at different points. This is your clutch shoe. And then within the clutch shoe and the belt housing, you have your springs. On this one, it's yellow. So it should shift around 1500 RPM. If you do want to change the springs to a blue, it would shift around 1000 RPM. If you do want to go to a red spring, you can shift it around 2000 RPM. So again, a lot of trial and error, and you'll decide what's best for you. You have your belt, of course, and then the variator. Now within the variator is another adjustment you can make. You can actually change these weights inside. You'll see the weights here. There's usually 6 weights in most variators. You can actually mix the weights on each location too to really have a custom type of shifting, that would maybe work better for you than just standard weights. And the rule of thumb is the lower the cc's, the lighter the weights can be. So a 50cc would use a lighter weight than a 250cc scooter. Just be careful when you put it all back together. Now that we've seen the individual components, we can go back to reassembly. Now we can reassemble the CVT exactly the opposite of how we took it apart. So you first want to put on your variator. Put the front variator on first. Make sure you keep your hand on the back or else you're going to lose your weights if it falls apart. There is one washer that's on this one. You want to make sure you put this back on after you put your front variator piece on. You can actually adjust your front variator with these washers. The more you use, you get different shift points on when the belt engages too. So again, it's just trial and error mainly on these parts. Next thing you want to do is wrap your belt around your clutch, then put that on. And this is where it gets a little tricky, putting the belt back on the front rear here. It's easy if you get it started and then just move it, it should just go back on the spline. Once you have it all back together, you can go ahead and use your impact wrench and give it a couple shots to get it tight. Once you have this all back together, you can go ahead and put your case back on. And there you have it, everything's back together. You can now take the scooter out for a test drive, see how the performance improved. Thank you for watching and see you next time.